everyone. We're thrilled to be here with Victoria Laurie and Jim McCarthy. By way of introduction, I want to tell you that they met in 2003. Jim was the 121st agent that Victoria sent a query to, and her only yes at that time. 17 years later and 33 books later, they are still literary partners and dear friends. And in fact, Jim is the inspiration, if not the actual character of Gilley Gillespie, and they'll talk more about that tonight. We've asked them to talk together about that, their personal relationship, their professional relationship, and how they created the Cat Gilley partnership. Victoria's 33 books include the Psychic Eye Mysteries, the Ghost Hunter Mysteries, the Life Coach Mysteries, and a number of young adult titles. She is a real-life psychic with a real-life intuitive practice, and she is one of my dear friends. Jim McCarthy is the Vice President and Literary Agent at Distal, Goodrich, and Barrett. He'll tell me if I got that right.
Yep.
Where he has been working there since he was an intern in 1999. He is particularly interested in literary fiction, underrepresented voices, fantasy, mystery, romance, anything unusual or unexpected, and any book that makes him cry or laugh out loud. This makes him the perfect partner for Victoria. I'm going to turn it over to the two of you.
Fantastic.
Oh, gosh.
Congrats on book 33.
I know, it's crazy, right? 33 and then 34 is going to be like right behind it. Actually, 34 and 35 right behind it with the Coach in the Act and then Spellbound. So hopefully it'll be 36 by the end of the year, which will be nice. What I really want to do is have my book birthdays catch up with my real birthdays. Like that's the ultimate goal. So I figure right around 60, 65, I might get there. I don't know. Anything could happen. Anything could happen. So
go ahead.
I was just thinking, I was thinking today about, it's been 17 years, but it's so crazy how kind of almost random it was that you and I formed a partnership, right? Because I don't know that most, even though, yes, you were the only yes, you originally said no. And you sent me the most lovely rejection letter. And I carried it around and read it to people, and they were like, you realize he said no, right? Like, you get that, right? I was like, yes, but he left the door open for me to rewrite it. It was so, from the moment that I read that rejection letter, I was like, I don't care what it takes. I'm going to work with this guy. And I have always felt that that connection that I felt initially with you, it just has, if anything, it's strengthened over the years. And I think that's been the real bond that's kind of kept us together, because we've had our ups and downs, more downs for you than ups for me. Me beating on you. Oh my God. So we have a lot of stories to share, right?
For sure. It feels quite fitting that we're having this conversation, and I, in the minutes preceding this, was frantically running around the house I'm vacationing in Maine, trying to find the best internet connection. Now sitting on the floor of a dirty bedroom that is scantily lit, because it's the only place that I could keep the connection. It sort of fits the sort of homegrown, play it as it lays style I think we've always had as a pair.
Yeah, exactly. It's been really more like a fraternal relationship, I think, between you and me. I definitely consider you my brother, my brother from another mother. And you are one of my best friends in the whole wide world. And that has just made working on all of these books, which, is it's it's hard work. It's difficult work. It's painful at times. It's honestly been a pleasure, honestly, Jim, these 17 years. You know, I love and adore you. But like, I was trying to think of when you went from kind of my professional representative to my muse. And I remembered today that it was not Gilley that was the first inspiration that you inspired. Do you remember in Vision of Murder, Abby 3, where the main character, Jim, right? Or James,
yep.
Who was the artist. He was the artist, right? And the original draft of it, like I even I think did a play on your last name, I think. So you were the inspiration for that. And then I sent you the rough draft. And all I got in like shrieking text after you read it was, "You killed me!" You were so offended.
You never forget the first time you're the inspiration for a character who's murdered.
For a death. Yes, exactly. So I actually had to change that because you were so offended. I found it hilarious, but like you were just so put off. Oh gosh, that was hilarious. And I think actually that's probably what inspired like that sort of like that shriek that was coming through the email. I think that inspired Gilley. I think that was the moment that Gilley was born. And
well, you knew how he sounded.
Huh?
You knew how he sounded then.
Yes. The shriek heard round the world. Yeah. And then, you know, just your kind of bubbly personality, I think really comes through with Gilley. It's my favorite thing about writing Gilley is that I so hear your voice and your judgment.
I'll take it.
Yeah. It's justified. Yeah. And, you know, even some of the little quirks that I've sort of noticed over the years. Like you love fashion, right? You love like a well put together. I remember when we went to Vegas together and remember the sweater that you were going to buy. And I was like, it looks fabulous on you. You should totally, totally get it. And you walked around and you know, kind of fell in love with it a little bit. And then you were like, no, you put it back. No, didn't go home.
Wasn't meant to be.
Oh,
I
good
wanted
time.
to ask a little bit. So I used to dream about seeing my name in the acknowledgement section of a book. So to become the actual inspiration or one of the inspirations for a character, it was pretty astonishing to me and continues to be.
Really?
But I wanted to talk a little bit about how these characters, because this is Cat and Gilley and Coach to Death are really born out of a long history of characters inspired by your life, starting with you and Abby. And I wanted to sort of see if you could talk a little bit about like how that decision happened to pull so much inspiration from your life and how it's sort of like turned into this 17-year-long run.
I know, it's been crazy. Well, you know, we kind of discussed this just a little bit a week ago, I think, right? About how I never knew it was a unique thing that other authors weren't pulling from as extensively as I do from the people that they're surrounded with. Mm. And I find the people in my inner circle to be special in different ways. And so I love pulling that special quality out, amplifying it, exaggerating it, quirking it, and running with it. I have been really, really, really blessed in my life to have the most incredible, really close inner circle. Like these are friends that, you know, if they called and said, I just killed a guy, I'd be like, okay, I'll get a body bag and a shovel. I will see you in 15 minutes. And, you know, no questions asked. And each one of these people that is in my inner circle, you included, brings something really kind of unique, you know, that sets you a little bit apart. So I don't know if it's me seeing these unique qualities in people and really wanting to explore that in a character, or that the one true gift in my life has been to attract people with really special qualities. I think it's probably a little bit of both. You know, Cat's based on my sister. And my sister used to run around and say, Cat is loosely based on her. And I'd be like, and then now she's like, oh, she's based on me. She's based on me. Now that she's got her own series, she's like, she's based on me, which I find adorable. And especially, you know, when Cat gets dressed up in the Birkin and the Louboutins and, you know, oh, she's based on me. Okay. All right. So yeah, I mean, there's been so many characters that have come from people that I actually know and actually love. And it brings me great joy to see them read the book and find themselves in those characters, you know, and be like, that is kind of me. But everything's of course an exaggeration, you know, I run with it. But yeah, I don't understand why you wouldn't do that. You know, like, it's so much more fun from just the relationship quality, right? To have that connection with someone for life, because you've put them in a book and you've amplified their character and you've taken the best qualities of them and shown them to the world. And in that, you're expressing love to them. And I can't imagine not doing that. You know, and sometimes hate. Sometimes, I will be honest, sometimes hate. You know, there have been some characters that you know, I've taken great pleasure in murdering on the page.
Including me.
No, I took no pleasure in that. It just was serving the story. I had no idea you were going to take it so bad. And that was like the last time I ever considered killing you off. Yeah. Everyone else I've been like, but you know. So yeah.
Well, I will say Cat is sort of famously persnickety, a little tough sometimes, a little tough to be around. Cat.
Really?
Cat.
Oh, Cat. Yes. Oh my God. Yes.
And
totally.
how does your sister, or how does your sister in particular, because she is the inspiration for Cat, but how have people reacted to some of the more
so graciously, honestly. I've really been so lucky. There hasn't been a single thing that she's objected to, nothing. And I have made Cat really unlikable at times in the Abby Cooper series. Like, you know, Abby is just ready to strangle her as Cat tries to take over. And it was actually that aspect that I wanted to really flesh out, because Cat was such a caricature in the Abby series. Mm-hmm. And I think that's born of sibling rivalry a little bit, where you have the perspective of having known this person since you were a little, you know, from the time you were born. And so all of that history gets rolled up into almost something that's not real. It's kind of a projection, right? Like, your sister kind of always is going to remain 15 years old in your mind's eye. And so I wanted, in doing the Cat Gilley series, to make Cat an actual person, to not have just this, you know, Abby's interpretation of her, but have Cat as a thinking, you know, strong, willful, yet tender and caring mother, you know, which is my sister. She's a phenomenal mother. She's an amazing mother. And I really wanted to kind of bring that out. And I think that's why fans have been so pleased with the Cat Gilley series this go around. So I was willing to kind of claim the character.
Is that how you knew you wanted to do Cat and Gilley as leads in a series, to give them more space?
No. I'll be honest. I'll be honest with you. I really miss Gilley. I miss kind of hanging out with you. I'll be honest. I really did. And I wanted to find him a partner that was a really good complement for him. And I had really liked the way that in the last MJ, Cat was planning Gilley's wedding.
Mhm.
And that was just a natural segue. So in writing the Cat Gilley series, they were already paired up, and it was an opportunity to kind of spend, time hanging out with Gil again. But I fell in love with Cat. So as she became more real to me, the more I just really liked her. And it was, I'll be honest, that first book, I was like, I don't know if I can pull this off. I don't know if this is going to work. I really didn't, because Cat was just this kind of flat annoyance in Abby's life. She didn't really have any depth, whereas Gilley had been this kind of central character that I could focus on for the 10 previous books. And then it just really started to take shape. I think when I focused on Cat as the mother of twins and heartbroken that her twins had chosen boarding school over living with her, and heartbroken really over the dissolving of her marriage, the divorce, that's when she really took on a life. And from there, I could just run with it. So it was a really pleasant surprise wanting to spend time with Gil and finding Cat kind of in that process.
And when did she become a life coach? When did that kernel show up in your brain?
I don't think my sister's not on here. I hope not. One of her friends was a life coach. It's just terrible. Like, it's just terrible. It's just awful. I'm like, this is bad. This is bad. So I kind of wanted, as a tongue-in-cheek, as kind of a joke, to make Cat a little bit of a joke. But two, in my own practice, a lot of times, when I give my readings, a lot of times I'm kind of coaching people about their lives. It's not just, if you follow path A, what's going on? Where are you going?
Sorry,
Everybody?
my back is out. I'm shifting around the room.
You're making everybody seasick.
I'm apologizing profusely.
No, that's much better. Actually, that's much better.
Good.
It's much better. So one of my sister's best friends is a life coach. Oh, yeah. So, and also taking kind of the experience of having coached my own clients. I've got clients that have had shit for 15 years. And kind of watching them face the ups and downs in their lives and sort of helping them through it. So kind of in my own work, there's a little bit of life coaching going on. So it was kind of that amalgamation where Cat, of course, she feels like she can fix everybody. And she's got all of this marketing experience and all of this success behind her. And then she gets in front of clients that have like really big problems. And it's like, she's totally unprepared, totally unqualified, totally unprepared. And she's just kind of, pulling it out of her butt, really, flying by the seat of her pants, which that is what I love. I love to kind of make those characters uncomfortable and have them figure it out. It's fun.
Well, and you are sort of
Because it
famously...
would be so dull if she was... Go ahead.
I was going to say, you're sort of famously a pantser as a writer. You write by the seat of your pants rather than outlining and plotting ahead of time. Do you think that's sort of born of the same impulse to just kind of keep things fresh and exciting?
For me. Yeah, for me. Because if I know who did it before I start writing it, then it feels flat. But if I create the mystery as I'm going along and I look for twists, it's just so much more fun for me as a writer. It keeps me more engaged. And I get bored so easily. Writing is such an arduous, hard, long, process. You know, it's like at the start of every book, it's like 330 pages. I have to fill 330 pages, right? And flying by the seat of my pants allows me to bring in alpaca farm scenarios and, you know, just craziness, just wild stuff. Versus the books I
Alpaca
think
farms.
that were,
Folks may not know because they haven't read the book yet. Alpaca Farms actually pulled directly from this book as an example.
You haven't read it yet?
No. I have, yes. No,
Okay.
I'm saying
We'll meet
others.
the first time, Jim.
Others may not realize that Alpaca Farms is an example from this book, and a very real one that is perhaps unexpected and delightful.
Oh God, I had so much fun with that. And you know, that was alpaca. I've been dying kind of to put alpacas in a book because for a long time I wanted to start my own alpaca farm. You know, kind of a little fantasy, like, gee, you know, if I had all the time in the world, what would I do? I'd start an alpaca farm.
Obviously.
So, right? Who wouldn't? I mean, they're basically human-sized Muppets. Like, who would not want one of those? They're adorable. They're adorable. Yes. I would love an alpaca farm. As long as it was like 2 or 3. That's about it.
I had another question specific to this book. So there's a bit of a kind of love triangle. And coming off of 15 books with Abby and Dutch and their very long-term relationship, and then, of course, MJ and Heath, how much fun is it to play with new potential romantic pairings?
So much fun. So much fun. Yeah, I brought the sexy in this book. You know,
did.
I don't know. I really like the idea of giving women the opportunity to see themselves other than a womb, right? Other than a birthing factory. And I think so many moms kind of get stuck in that role and that label. And I know Cat was stuck in that role and that label. And I wanted to break her out of that. I wanted her to see herself as this object of desire, not just by one man, but by 2. And where would her heart lead her? You know, like, and I hadn't quite made up my mind until I made up my mind. And I loved it. That's my favorite part in the book because it felt natural to me. It felt really natural where she went, who she did it with, and who she chose. And I remember writing the last scene of the book and just like, it just felt, nailed it, you know, like, that's what I wanted, you know? So
is there any part of you, without spoiling who ends up together, is there any part of you that's like, maybe she'll have second thoughts. Maybe other routes are still open?
At this moment, no. This moment, no. But I could change my mind tomorrow, right? At this moment, no. I kind of want to explore a little bit more of a serious relationship for Cat and see where that leads, because it ultimately will change the dynamic with Gilley. And that's worth exploring, right? Because that's something that those 2 are going to have to work out.
Yeah.
So, and you know what's next for Gilley. So there will be some, you know, difficulties there.
It's so hard to talk about without spoiling, but I won't.
I know, because we've already had all these conversations. You know, it's so funny too that like I feel I have to call you and say I want to do this to Gilley. You know, like I it's almost like, Jim, I want to do this to you. You know, but I almost feel like I really do need your blessing, because it's more than that. It's kind of like if you're on board, then I feel good about the decision to take Gilley in that direction, you know? So,
not given my blessing?
No, you have been the most generous muse I could ever ask for, because anytime you do something embarrassing or like that you wouldn't want the world to know, I'm like, can I write about that? And you're like, sure. You're like, go for it. I'm like, okay. Yeah, no, there really hasn't been anything.
I remember.
And I think that's,
go ahead.
you remember, well, there is one thing that I've never written about that I would love to write about, and you know what that is, but I'm honoring you with that. I won't even mention what it is.
I will mention it because I'm going on the record and saying you can write about it. We're talking about my second grade birthday party, I believe.
Yes.
Yes. When it stings a little bit, but I'm prepared to laugh at it. When everybody got together and decided not to show up at the same time. So no one came, and I was just at home with like bags of nacho cheese Doritos and a bunch of Blockbuster videos. And it's still 20 years after the fact hurt too much that I couldn't do it. But I am now, another 12 years later, prepared to let you have it. You can have my tragic second grade birthday.
So delighted. You have no idea. I love that story from the time you told it to me. Like, I'm crying. It just makes me giggle. I don't know. Just thinking of like little you.
I know.
You know, with like a cowboy hat on, just all dejected. You know, imagining like a clown outside going, come here, little boy. Now you're scared of clowns. You don't like them. You don't want to be anywhere near clowns.
It is officially untraumatizing enough that you can have it.
Oh my God. Well, you know, still though, because I think it was a hurtful experience, I don't know that I would write about it. But thank you for being so generous for offering it, you know, because I would never ever want to write anything that would be hurtful to you. And I think that's why I still kind of check in, you know, and go, it's okay if I do this.
And I assume you do it with your sister and some other people as well. Is that true?
Oh, I don't care what she thinks. I don't care. I'm running over her. Whatever. She was racing through the middle part of the book. You know what I'm talking about? Like, oh.
Love
Not
it.
rated G, Sandy. Not rated G. Oh well.
Indeed.
Oh well. Yeah. So I was thinking about a couple of times where we've had some good kind of stories about the MJ series when you really helped me out. My favorite is the Hatchet Jack book 2. Demons are Ghoul's best friend, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the story goes. I'm at the post office. I'm standing in line, and it occurs to me. This was back when I was required to do contracts, which thank God Jim negotiated me out of, because I hate contracts because I'm a pantser. So I'm thinking, I think I have an outline due soon. Yeah, I have an outline due soon. And so I call him up, and I'm like, hey, do you know when the next outline for MJ is due? And I hear click, 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 click. Let me check. Click, 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 click. And he goes, tomorrow. I'm like, oh. And he goes, tell me you started it. I started it. Really? No. And he's like, Victoria, it's due tomorrow. So I'm like, well, I kind of had an idea. I think like there could be like something like maybe with a witch. I had nothing. I had absolutely nothing. This thing's due tomorrow. It's like 4:30 on a Monday. It's due Tuesday. So Jim goes, okay, well, I'm about to leave and I have this book at home. What was the book?
Weird New York.
Weird New York. I have this book at home. I'll read it and see if there are any ideas in it. And you go home and think about ideas. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll totally do that. So I go home and I make a bowl of popcorn and the TV, and I'm thinking real hard. The phone rings, barely dark. And Jim goes, I've been reading this book and I don't want to read it anymore, but I think I've found two stories for you because I'm home alone and it's getting dark outside. So yeah, that's where Hatchet Jack came in.
Yeah,
and then there was
a ghost story out of a book I read late at night and scared myself sick over.
I loved it. It's so funny. And then you realize that I think probably from book 4 to 10, my sole goal was to scare the shit out of you. That was my sole goal. I was like, can I make Jim hate me at the end of this book? And the last book, the very last book, I'm waiting for him to finish. I've sent it in. And I know he's reading it. And I'm just waiting. And then I get a text. And all the text says is, you sadistic bitch. I was like, yes. Score.
You got
Did
it.
Nailed it. I got it. Yep. It's all good. Oh, I loved that. And I loved how, I don't remember which one it was. I think it was, maybe The Girl Next Door, I think The Girl Next Door, where you were reading it on the subway because it was bright on the subway and there weren't any ghosts down there. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Subways are like the most haunted places on the planet. You were like, don't tell me that.
There's been a lot of shrieking over the years.
Yes, it's been awesome. I loved it. I loved it so much. Miss those days. Miss scaring the pants off of you.
I'm realizing. I know. You'll get another ghost book and scare me shitless again. It'll happen.
I'm sure. I've got a few more in here.
So I'm realizing that we are 35 minutes in, and I prepped at your request a couple of speed round questions. I know you did as well.
Oh my goodness.
You want to do those
Great
before
mind.
we get
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, let's go.
Do you want me to go
Bring
first?
it.
All right. So taking it back to book 1, when you and I first met, Abby Cooper, in the very beginning of the very first book, says that her life is like vanilla ice cream. So what flavor ice cream is your life?
Rocky Road. What's so funny is it's so true. Rocky Road. Yeah, that's my answer. It's my final answer. I don't need
no
to call
more
a friend.
details.
I'm good. You need more details?
I said no more details needed.
No more details needed. Good, because I'm not giving any. Yeah, Rocky Road.
Perfect.
All right, what else you got?
Okay, what is the most adventurous thing you've ever done?
Okay, I ran a 31-miler on a whim with my best friend Leanne, just on a whim. 7.5 hours. I call it the Trail of Tears. So my favorite story from that adventure was mile 24, I think. I kind of shuffled, limped, gimped over to the aid station. And this was in Maine, where you are. And the woman at the aid station says, she's been coming in hot. She's like, what do you need? We have water, we have Gatorade, we have pretzels, we have peanut butter and jelly, we have potato chips. What do you need? And I walked up and I'm like, an ambulance. I need a fucking ambulance. She laughed and laughed, and I'm like, why are you laughing? I need an ambulance.
No joking matter.
God. Oh my God, it was horrible. It was horrible. Yeah. Oh, I had blisters for days and days. Oh, it was chafed. It was blistered. It was awful. Yeah, that's the most adventurous thing. I like that question, though. That's a good question.
Awesome.
What else you got?
Yeah. Next one. What is the best gift you've ever given? Because I think of you as an outstanding gift giver.
Thank you. I take great pride in that. Oh crap. I gave a long time ago. I gave my mother a puppy. I just brought home a puppy, a Cocker Spaniel. It was adorable. I think that was the sweetest gift I ever gave to that bitch. I've given you some good gifts. I think I'm just gonna go with giving to me is like a challenge. Like that's the thing I still look forward to for birthdays and holidays. It's like, what can I give this person that tells them I see them, right? I know them, I see them, and I hear them. So it's like a super personal thing for me. It's not a, oh gosh, here's your gift certificate. I hate that shit.
Here's something I'm supposed to mail you this time of year.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, one of the best gifts I ever got was the crystal brandy snifters that you sent me for 15 years. Oh my God, I love those. I still have them. They're beautiful.
I'm delighted.
Yeah, I love them. Yeah.
This is my last speed round question. What is a book other than yours? A book other than yours that everybody should own?
God, that's a tough one.
Or just the last book you read that you love.
Well, All the Light We Cannot See, I'm still not recovered from. I can't even wrap my head around how magnificent on every level that book was. It was as perfect a book as I have ever read. It was just like, I understand why it took him 10 years. Every word was like placed with, tweezers just perfectly. And the symbolism and the metaphors and you can like spin your mind around it for days and days and days. So I think that is the book that people should own, even if they're not totally into the story, just for the brilliance of how it's written. Oh, I love that book. I love it. Yeah, really good. Okay, that's your last one?
Yes.
Yours are good. Mine are like, well, hold on. I've got, let's see. Oh, are there any other characters from other books or authors loosely based or inspired by you?
I don't think there are.
Come on.
I'm dead serious. I don't think any other clients have based a character on me. I am so honored to be part of the inspiration for Gilley, but I think he's the only one. At least if anyone else has done it, they haven't told me, and I haven't been smart enough to put it together myself.
Well, you know what's so crazy about that, Jim, is like, I know how all of your clients are like, I'm Jim's favorite. And little do they know that I am your favorite. Me. And I don't say that. I just allow them their fantasy. I'm like, okay, you can think that, but it's so not true. That really shocks me. Like, that really surprises me, honestly.
I can put out a survey and check.
Okay, do that. Okay, is there a cat in your life?
Sorry, you glitched out for a second. Can you ask again?
Oh, is there a cat in your life? Do you have a cat?
Oh, I
think you do. Not me. I'm not looking for compliments, but because you've got a couple of like really good close friends.
I do, and I would say the person who is most sort of like driven together, specific, like that person who's organized to the nth degree is my friend Kristen, who I'm actually on vacation with. We are.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
that's
she's
so cool.
Just downstairs. She was a cat. We met each other the first day of college and have been great friends ever since.
You guys went to Thailand. You guys went to Canada. You guys have been all over.
We went to Puerto Rico, Costa Rica. Yeah, we are big travel buddies.
I love it. Let's see. Okay. Okay. So Jim has a phone system at work that you have to say your name. So it'll say, please tell, who's calling, right? So everybody who calls Jim has to announce who they're calling or who they are. And if he doesn't want to talk to you, you get voicemail. And if he does want to talk to you, then you get to speak to him. So when my name is announced on the phone, what are you hoping I'm calling about?
Oh, anything that makes you happy. I
Okay.
hope you're calling about new ideas, new books.
Okay.
I hope you're excited about a cover.
Cool.
Anything good. I just want good news. And I know just from the way you say it's me, exactly what you
yeah, I definitely
more
let
than
you know
anyone I know. Yeah. Are you're as transparent as possible in that it's Victoria. That I'm like, I know where she's coming from.
It's so true. It's so true. Okay. All right. Well, that answered the next one, which is, what are you hoping I'm not calling about? So we'll go to speed round. Okay.
Awesome.
All right. Ready?
Yep.
Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
For takeout, Italian or Chinese?
Italian.
Ooh. Boxers or, we'll skip that one. Early bird or vampire? Early bird or vampire?
Man, I'm neither. I'm like late to rise, early to sleep. I love a good night's sleep these days. But of the two, more vampire than early riser.
Okay. City or country? I know the answer.
Definitely city.
But you're out in the country,
I am in the country right now.
Okay. On vacation, would you rather go to Europe or Asia?
Oh, probably Europe. I've only been to Asia once, so that I most want to get back there, but Europe has my heart.
Okay, that's fair. Popcorn or Milk Duds at the movie?
Milk Duds. Milk Duds. The more sugar, the better.
Right? Okay, this one's a tough one. Actually, it's not. It's going to be really easy. Who's your favorite client?
Oh, I have to think about.
Oh, that's there. Your answer is Victoria Laurie.
Perfect. I see we have Terry back.
You do, because it's a perfect segue, I thought, to see if anyone in our audience had a question for either of you. Yeah. So I'm going to unmute everyone. Oh, somebody else did that. Okay. And so you can unmute yourself if you'd like to ask a question. I would love it if you would go to the participants window and raise your hand if you have a question that I can call on you, or you can write a question in the general chat. And if I don't get a question, then it's Jim's turn. No questions yet.
Oh. And
Joy,
I do. Joy. Joy, you're on.
Hi. Okay. This is so great. I'm so glad to be here and to see Jim's face, because I do read the acknowledgments every time. And it's very cool to see both of you interact. My question is, how do you come up with all these hot guys in the books like Milo and Max, and are they based on real people?
No, because they're hot and they're caring and they're nurturing and they're wonderful boyfriends for the most part. And I mean that in like the most serious way possible. Yeah, I think my dating experience has me writing the other way. Boy, I've had some doozies. Jim's been around for a couple of those walks of shame, actually. I remember one call from Texas. I was like, I'm driving home without my underwear. Ha! Good times. Yeah, I think they're just based on. Huh?
am.
Good to know.
Glad I could help.
Yeah, I think, they kind of come from, I think when they're not based on anybody, it's sort of an amalgamation. So I kind of put together facets of probably men that I've known or men that I've seen interviewed or whatever, So that's where I come up with them. But the hotness part, the part where you see how, sexy they are, that's all you. I'm just writing a description.
Thank
so
you.
you're putting in the ooh la la.
Well, I can't wait for the new book. Very excited.
Good.
Just trying to figure out.
Good.
So
Jill has a
students
question.
are going online starting Thursday.
I just want to know if there's going to be more Abby Cooper mysteries, because that
Yep.
is my favorite series.
Yeah.
I was reading
Abby,
some comments
I
and
can't
nobody really
imagine
believes
stopping.
it's just going to be 2 weeks. It's going to be another one of those
I think
Got a lot of-
constant extensions.
I think one person, Christine, isn't muted and should be. There we go.
Okay. Yeah, there's Abby will continue for as long as I'm writing. She'll just get older. Yeah.
When do we think we'll have another Abby? Because soon, right?
Oh my God. Yeah. I have I have the ideas for the next two, all locked up in here. I just have to get, I have to get the next Cat Gilley to my editor yesterday. It's almost done. Down to the last 50 pages, and then Spellbound, I'm down to the last 40 pages. Then I can start Abby. So just once I get those two projects kind of out the door, then I can start Abby. So I'm hoping by December, but it'll probably be January if we're being realistic, because we're already at the end of August. So time just flies. So yeah.
John, do you want to ask your question?
I see it, it's in the chat. It's do you enjoy virtual events and how do they compare to live events for you?
Well, this one has been just delightful. I've had so much fun. Yeah, I like virtual events. I like them a lot. I think honestly, it's less draining for me because there's no travel involved, but then I don't get to hang out with, amazing people like Terry. So, or John in Texas. It's a trade-off, right? So this is, both are wonderful. I'm happy to do both. I think I can get to more events virtually, obviously, because it's such an expense otherwise. So, so this is just honestly, it's such a great gift we have, Zoom. Who knew, right?
Who knew?
Who knew?
Lisa S., do you want to ask your question?
Sure. Hi, Victoria. How are you?
Hi. I'm wonderful. How are you doing, sweetheart?
Good. I was going to say that I just love, and I say love because you like to say love, and miss MJ and Heath so much. Any chance of a crossover where we bring MJ out of retirement and she can solve a ghost problem with her sister and her old partner, Gilley?
MJ will remain retired, and you'll learn why in this next book. I think, is it this next book? I can't remember if it's this book or the one after. I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure it's this book. You'll learn why. Jim and I have talked recently about doing another sort of ghost hunter mystery-esque, dark, demon-infused kind of book that would take a page out of Heath's world, but it's tricky because I would love to set the character up as an American Indian, but then I don't want to appropriate anybody's culture. But, I kind of already have this established history. So I kind of have to figure out how to position that, but that's already kind of twirling in my mind as something like, okay, I know I'm going to write this. I just haven't figured out how yet. So probably within the next 2 years, you might see something like that come out of me. I'm thinking, if I can figure out how to do it without offending anybody.
That would be very exciting. Thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for the question.
Jennifer Lowe, do you want to ask your question?
What made you choose the Hamptons as a setting?
The Hamptons. My sister had been there on several occasions and just had spoken about how much she loved it. And what's the book? Or sorry, what's the movie with Keanu Reeves and Jack Nicholson and what's her name?
I know what you're talking
Good
about.
as It Gets or something?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that setting is in the Hamptons, and it's always struck me as such a beautiful, beautiful setting. So I was really just wanting to position Cat in a place that my sister has been and loved and had some familiarity with. So she could kind of talk to me about East Hampton and kind of how it felt culturally to her. So it's just honestly kind of a random thing. Wasn't anything like, oh, I've got to set it here. It just was sort of a random, yeah, you know, Sandy's been there. She loved it, loved the setting, and I loved the look of it from the movie. So that's why. I've never been to the Hamptons, but Google Maps is kind of an awesome thing. I'm sorry?
I live on Long Island, and I went to school at
Oh,
Southampton.
do you? Oh, cool.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
So I went to college
That's
in
awesome.
Southampton. So it's a nice reminder of living out that way.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you, Jennifer. I appreciate that.
So the last question we have, Kristen, I don't know, you're on the phone. I don't know if you can ask your question yourself. But it's a big question. It's who or what inspired you to become an author and a psychic?
Well, I was a psychic first. Yeah, I was a psychic for a couple of years. I'd been a professional, so I've been seeing clients for like 3 years prior to even thinking about writing. And I got laid off from my job in 2003, early 2003, like February. And I was totally bored, totally broke. But I'd seen Janet Ivanovich interviewed on the Today Show, and she was talking about her bounty hunter based series. I'd never heard of this. And so she sounded funny. So I thought, well, you know, I could use a laugh. So I went to the bookstore and I got the first 3 novels. And like by the middle of the second one, I was calling my sister and I was like, I'm going to write a book. Like, this woman speaks like how my mind talks. And it was just so familiar. It was like she was in my head almost. It was amazing, that connection that I felt. And I thought, if she can do this and be that popular, then why can't I? So my sister was like, yeah. Good luck with that. And here we are 33 books later. So, yeah, that's where it came from. It wasn't anything like a lifelong desire, or it was honestly all just on a whim. So sometimes it works out.
And we're glad it did. Let us all say.
So am I.
So,
yeah.
Well, we're getting very, very close to the end of the hour. And I want to remind everyone that they can pick up a copy of To Coach a Killer with signed book plates and a coaster, which is compliments of Kensington
so
Publishing.
Cool.
So you get a little bit of swag with every purchase. Emmy will put the link again in chat. We just are thrilled to have the two of you. I can't thank you enough for spending launch day with us.
Are you kidding? This was awesome. And Tim, thank you so much. Really, thank you.
Thank you.
I know it's late, and I know you're on vacation, and I really appreciate it. Thank you, sweetie.
My pleasure.
Well,
And Terry, thank you. You've always been so good to me. And I love you so much, and I appreciate you so much. And any chance I get to see that gorgeous face of yours, I'm so thrilled with. So thank you. And I miss you.
right back at you. And next year, we're taking it back on the road.
Yes. Yes.
All right. All right. Well, thank you everyone for coming, and happy launch day, and see you all soon.
Okay.
Good night.
Have a good one.